I'm Tony Fleming, and this is Fleming's Ultimate Garage. Everybody, thanks for joining us on today's English video. Now, I'm not going to try to pretend to have a great English accent because the English accent is so good. Oh, it's so good to hear it. However, what comes along with an English accent is English style, right? You say, well, Tone, the English have style. Yeah, but you forget about what kind of style they have, from Savile Row to Aston Martin, Bentley, Rolls-Royce. I could go on and on, just about all of the great marquees for 50 to 75 years that have been around that have great style. So I say to you this, when you want to get a cool car, okay, think about buying a brand new one versus getting one that has super low miles, garaged its whole life, is in beautiful condition, serviced and loved, low ownership, and you know history about it. This is how you buy a car. This is it right here. When is the last time, and you're seeing this video here, and you maybe saw some online and what have you, but when's the last time you saw a Vantage V8 Roadster on the road? And the answer is, you know what, I don't remember, right? Because they only made 1,500 of these a year. 1,500 for the world. People think, oh my God, Aston Martin must sell 20, 40, 50,000 cars a year. They make less, including now with their trucks and what have you, less than 5,000 vehicles a year. Before the trucks, they were making 2,000 vehicles a year. That's low production. These are hand-built, hand-done, beautiful cars. We're gonna look at some style. We're gonna look at some of the features you get with the car. We're gonna look at amazing paint, right, and interior. And then we're gonna go for a test drive. We're gonna get to hear the V8 growl, and we're gonna have a good time, and let's get started. All right, so the paint is called China Gray, but before I get into the paint, I wanna talk about wheel and tire, what makes a car beautiful, because all the time people say, Tone, that's a beautiful car, but we don't know why it's a beautiful car. I wanna talk a little about the styling for a second so you can see what that means. For instance, look how long and wide this fender is. Most fenders are only this bit here. The fender here is flared and it's giant. If you look back here, we have these big arches that are back here. We have 19-inch wheels on here. You say, well, Tone, 19-inch wheels are nice. Well, they're 19-inch wheels for the base wheel. Why? Because the brakes are so big, 18s wouldn't allow the brakes to fit inside the wheel, right? When you're talking about cars that are, 170, 80, 90 mile an hour cars, right? You have to be able to stop. You want to go, but you need to be able to stop, and that's what you get here. All right, so metallic paint. That is paint that's had ground up metal put in it, right? And it's much more expensive to get. Plus these are handmade, plus it's an extra cost color, and it is fabulous. You need to see it. I want so much for you to come on up here. Check this out. It's really great looking. And then you see that beautiful Aston logo on the front. All right, so I want to spend a second under the hood here for a reason. This is a lightweight aluminum hood. It goes up like with zero effort. Okay, let's get a lesson on buying cars. And that starts under the hood. You say, Tone, how do you buy a car under the hood? Well, first off, because I'm a fan of making sure that cars haven't been in accidents. And so part of the way to ensure that is when you look over here and you see the original decals in place, things that you can't purchase anymore, right? This is the tag of the person, hand-built and inspected by Mr. Munir, right here, still on the car. VIN tags, other decals, all still on the strut supports here. If this has been an accident and those were replaced, all of that stuff would be gone, and it's still there. The last part I want to talk to you about is, why does an Aston Martin handle so well? Well, let's talk about that for a second. If you look inside this car, most engines would be up here. This engine is 6 inches lower in the car. Why? Well, because they took the oil pan off, and instead of it being at the bottom of the engine, they moved it to a tank over here. That allows them to lower the engine in here, and the engine never runs out of oil. If you took this car to a track or something like that, it keeps it from starving. Lastly, the handling part. When we look at a car that handles, this is the center line of the wheel right here. The engine is behind the center line. It's behind there, meaning putting the weight in here instead of hanging off of the front end, causing all the extra weight on there to go around corners. It's why you hear people talk about, wow, those Aston Martins really drive well. It's because of that right there, making it almost a mid-engine car. All right. Lastly, it's just really nice looking. You maybe want to go to a Cars and Coffee. People are going to want to look at it. They did a nice with a piece with the strut tower braces. Those are factory pieces that are there, and looks really nice and detailed under here. I don't know. I just think it's great looking. I thought you should see it too. All right, so I like to talk about the style of the car also from the rear angle as well. Why? Well, because there's a lot of thought put into this. When you look at these cars have weathered the styling storm and will be great style for the next 50 years, in my opinion, right? These wraparound LED taillights that go under the quarter panel here, the flared quarters that we talked about, this large drop of the apron back here. You say, Tone, I didn't really think about all of that little stuff that makes for a great looking car. Yes, agreed. And you have this right here, great looking logo. And just even the font in Vantage is fabulous. One last thing I wanted to point out is this piece right here, which I think adds a whole nother styling. When they raise these up to give it like this race car kind of humps there. Also inside here is roll bars, right? If the car tilts either way, these roll bars would pop up, giving you protection, right? With the windshield and this here versus leaving you all alone. And then some cool stuff is like the original plastic is still here for when the convertible top goes down so it doesn't scratch the paint on the car. That's how you know a car has been well taken care of. And then when we get inside, you'll see, and we'll talk more about a full leather interior, but even these humps here are covered in leather. All right, so the view walking up to this sports car is really great. I mean, when you walk out of a restaurant and the valet has parked this car outside because it is a great looking car, you know why. Because now we've looked at all of this great stuff that's on here and how cool it is. I also want to point out some technical things too, so let's go ahead and get inside and I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so this right here, the door, you say, Tone, why are you spending time talking about the door? Well, just breathe, relax for a second, and I'll tell you, just hold on, okay? The pressure, jeez. Do you see the way the door does this? It starts here, but ends up all the way up here. Why? Well, because what it does is, when it goes up, it gives you all of this room in here to get inside, right? I'm 6'1", so I need a little bit more room than maybe some other people might do. And so when I get in here, okay, I would say, look how much room I have. I can put my legs all the way straight in here. This is a big person's car, right? Anybody tall, bigger person in general, plenty of room in here. They're small sports cars like 911 size, right? But they're very roomy inside. They've done a great job packaging the engine and transmission and things like that in there. Then you have this beautiful waterfall center stack here. Whew. Okay, breathe. Full leather interior. What does that mean, Tone? Full leather, like the seats are covered in leather? Well, no, it means that not only the seats covered in leather, but contrasting stitching. The stitching is the same color as the paint outside, because people always say, Tone, that's a beautiful car, but we don't know why, and I like to point out that stuff. A two-tone door panel right here. This in gloss black. This is covered in leather. The console's covered in leather. The stitching on the console matches the exterior paint on the car, right? And has all this great stuff in here. When you go to put the key in, okay, it's a crystal key like this. And we don't start the cars in here, so I'm not going to do that, but it goes right in there and it fires up and the exhaust sounds great. Now, there is a nice thing too. This has an 8,000 RPM tach and a 220 mile an hour speedometer. The gauges are sweeping like this, so they're closer and you can see things a little bit easier. Full array of gauges and paddle shifters as well. What does that mean? Well, what it means is this, is that here we have the option of having a fully manual transmission, meaning a roll back, right? And holding gear, and as you go around corners, flip the throttle, things like that. Or you can go full automatic. You got to get on the phone or do something like that. Just hit D. It takes over. It's a nice smooth drive, and off you go. And that you're getting the best of both worlds. An exotic manual transmission car with the option to have drive in there as well if someone needs to drive it. Also, the convertible top is full power as well, meaning you don't have to unlatch any buttons. You don't have to do anything here. Tonneau cover opens up. It does its thing right there. We'll show you how that works. And then these, I love. These are the sun visors. They are the nicest sun visors in any car ever. Look at them. They're these little tiny things because the windshield's slanted so much. These beautiful little lighted mirrors. That's really, really nice stuff. When you get an Aston, you just get stuff that's just nicer. All right, so it's an English car, and it's almost like we're driving on the English back roads, and I'm using the paddles because I love to engage the car. It's just so easy, and it makes this great sound. Like, listen. It flips the throttle as you downshift. And just feels so planted. I mean, this is a heavy feeling car, even though it's light. Look at it go around the corners. It is amazing. I've got the smile coming in. All right. I'm watching the tach and the speedometer meet together. All right, some more back roads driving in an Aston Martin Vantage Volante. That's what we're really supposed to call it instead of a roadster or a convertible. But you're saying like, hey, Tone, how does that feel? Well, let me tell you what it feels like. It feels planted. It feels fast and solid. And then if I want to, I just hit this button right here. And now I'm in full hangout mode, right? I can jump on the phone, I can drive hours on the highway, I can do all of those things. It's the best of both worlds. And then if I decide I want to get back in the shifting, just pull the paddle. Hear that V8? And this car squirts between corners. It is awesome. It's got great power. Anyway, thanks so much for riding with us. Hope you had a great time. I had a great time getting out of work today. Thank you. And if you don't mind, hit the like button down below. That helps get our message out. Subscribe to the channel. We got new stuff coming out all the time. And don't forget to share it with your friends. They might see something they like as well. And I'll see you on the next one. How you doing? Was that a great test drive or what? I told you this thing sounded good and it handles really nicely. Obviously we didn't push it because we'll let you do that when you get it. But just to run over some of the stuff here, the color combination is fabulous, right? You get this great metallic paint with this tan and matching leather interior inside there, contrasting with some of it too. Big wheels and tires, big brakes, a great sounding exhaust, 4.7 liters, minimum of 420 horsepower. They sell some things that you can modify that just with a push of this and a little twist of this to get you closer to 500 horsepower if that's what you want. How you doing, right? And then such a great interior of this car. So many great things inside, the great sound system, the beautiful center stack that's in there, the crystal key you push in there. I'm going on and on and on. It is fabulous. You need to find some way to get this cool. Well, not to mention this car has been driven less than 2,000 miles a year as climate controlled storage. You can tell by how supple and things like that all the leather is and how nice it is. It is wonderful. Anyway, let's find a way to